the more you rig things and then give people a boost they didn't deserve, the more they actually experience it psychologically as deservedness.
So, big news. Apparently, the wealthy have their own rules in society. Who knew? Now, before I get deeper into this story, look, I was not surprised by this. I didn't even think it was that big of a story, which is why I didn't cover it yesterday. But now it's like blown up. So I'm going to cover this, but I also want to show you other reactions, including from people like Anand and from Meghan McCain of The View, to give you sort of a well-rounded picture on how people are responding to this and really, I guess, what this signals in terms of how society operates. So first, here's the headline. Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin are among dozens charged in a massive college admissions scam. The scheme involved facilitating cheating on college entrance exams and bribing administrators to designate students as athletic recruits. Now, as I was saying, my first reaction was, yeah, of course. I mean, this is obviously happening. Why is this a big deal? But I guess the reason this is sort of a big deal is because they were actually caught and charged and arrested. So that's not what usually happens. And look, what they did was illegal, which is also different. So society is already rigged legally in favor of the wealthy, but this was illegal rigging. So that's why this is a bigger deal, I guess, in terms of the way the media views it than the normal rigging that is legal. But again, to me, it's all just rigging. So I understand the difference in terms of the law, but in terms of its actual effect on society, it's the same. Now, I want to go, let me just quickly go over some of the details of this story, and then I'll show you some of the reactions that really interest me most. So this from Splinter News. U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling called the parents charged in the case a catalog of wealth and privilege. The schemes involved paying better students to take the SAT or ACT on the rich kids' behalf, straight up changing answers on the tests after the kids took them, having therapists help them get extra time on their exams, and even bribing university athletics coaches to pretend the students were athletic recruits. Many of the students were unaware their parents were cheating on the tests for them, the FBI said. The payments were made through a nonprofit and disguised as charitable donations. According to the FBI, some parents paid up to $6.5 million for guaranteed admission to colleges. Now, the focus of this story has largely been on the two big actresses who got caught up in this. But I want to show you a clip here from Anand on MSNBC discussing where the real focus should be.
And it's important to note that while all the attention yesterday, a lot of the media attention, focused on two female actresses, because we are America, and that's what we're capable of focusing on when 33 people
I wasn't
get ensnared.
On them, to be honest with you.
The most important person charged yesterday was Bill McGlashan.
Tell our audience who this guy is.
Bill McGlashan is a partner at a private equity firm, TPG.
One of the biggest, most successful private equity firms on the planet, founded by brilliant, hardworking guys.
If that is good, this is one of the best.
Yes.
And TPG is not only a massive private equity firm. In recent years, as you have covered so much, there has been a mounting chorus of criticism of capitalism, how capitalism works. That's come from Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. It's come from the Occupy movement. It's come from all corners. And that's been outside pressure on capitalism, right? But there has been a move within some of the citadels of capitalism to say, you know what? Y'all are right about a little bit of this, right? There's been shared value. Michael Porter at Harvard Business School. There have been people, you know, conscious capitalism from the guy who started Whole Foods. A bunch of movements within the system to say, we can fix this with it. We got this. Don't tax us. Don't occupy anything. We got this. And who was the dean of this? TPG started a $2 billion fund called the RISE Fund.
Good capitalism.
Run by Bill McGlashan.
Do the right thing and make money.
Help. The capitalism can be used. We who built this rigged system, we can de-rig it. We're the leaders. And guess who we got? Because you got to get this guy if you want to legitimate your fund. You got to get Bono. So Bill McGlashan and Bono, last month, a couple months ago, sitting in Davos in their parkas, sitting there talking about how that capitalism can lift people up. And to me, it is a signal moment for this new capitalism, impact investing world, that one of the deans of this world, who said that he could be a leader of helping the disadvantaged, was in fact, when he went home at night, working the phones to ensure that the same kids from Africa or from Appalachia who he was empowering with his fund would never be able to compete with the seat that he was locking up for his own kids.
All right, so Anand breaks it down there pretty well. How the focus should not be on, you know, these actresses who really ultimately don't have that much power. Yes, they have, you know, general power in society because of their wealth, but people like Bill McCain who have actual power, who are the ones turning the knobs, who are the people trying to distract us away from the issues that capitalism creates and say, no, look, we have our foundations, we're doing all these great things. Billionaires are actually really helping the world. So no, don't tax us more, don't take our power away. Allow us to fix the problems of society that ultimately we created, but we're not going to say that. But allow us to control it all. And no, don't tax me more, don't take my power away, I'm fine. That's what people like Bill McCain do. And then behind the scenes, the people that he's pretending to empower, he is taking their power away by getting his kid in illegally to the detriment of everybody else that is trying to get into that same school. So this shows you ultimately not only that, you know, this was clearly illegal and a problem in itself, that this case here, but also just generally on society and in how people like Bill McCain and how they approach society and how they always think, no matter what part of their life it is, whether it's themselves, their kids, their money, they always find a way to create this system where they're able to benefit to the detriment of everybody else, even if it means creating this entire facade around, oh, don't worry, we are conscious capitalists, we are thinking about the world and helping people, when in reality, all the things that they do with their foundations is ultimately to benefit them, to make connections for themselves, and even behind the scenes, the things they do to get their kids into college. Now, I want to show this clip from The View. So we got Meghan McCain. I just feel like I have to include some of this because we need to laugh sometimes, right? So let me play this clip. So before this clip I'm going to show you, there was a fairly good discussion on The View about this whole problem. But then it gets to Meghan McCain. And instead of Meghan McCain talking about how, oh, what these rich families did are terrible, she turns the focus on herself. So let me just play a short clip of this.
Not everything is about my family. I know. I read my tweets. I know what you guys are saying. But Aunt Becky's husband talked crap about ASU, okay? And at Arizona State University is where the McCain Institute for International Leadership is partnershiped with ASU, where they find students, identify, develop, and train a global network of character-driven leaders that I have the luxury to be a part of that institute. And it was chosen because ASU is a premier educational system as well. And maybe it isn't as good but from some people, Hollywood elite's perspective as Harvard and Yale. But let me tell you something. ASU has the president, Michael Crow, who is an incredible president, who's been doing incredible things for a long time.
Okay. I cut this off because I didn't know what the hell was going on here. They were having a discussion about these charges, about these families getting being caught getting their kids into school through these payments. Then she turns the focus on herself. Now, the comments that she is reacting to were not comments that were made yesterday while this was all going on. She's reacting to what did she say? The husband of Becky. So she's talking about Lori Loughlin. Lori Loughlin's husband. The comments that Meghan McCain is responding to. Her husband made these comments in 2016. 2016, 3 years ago. Why is she talking about this right now? It's like she doesn't have anything to be able to add to the conversation about privilege because she herself is privileged. So she turns it around and makes a comment in defense of herself about comments made in 2016. Look, I'm going to get to it. This is the privilege that Meghan McCain has. She is displaying right here. And it goes even further in the next clip.
But it's interesting because the idea of legacy admissions is racist in nature, and I'll tell you why. It started in the 20s to keep out upwardly mobile immigrants who had started pushing for admission to elite schools.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very, very bad system. Legacy. Why should your kid get in because you got in?
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, the only thing I will say
That's
is
not
when
fair.
it comes to
I didn't have any. I was the first person in my whole family to go to college.
Military academies, my family goes back generations at the Naval Academy, and that's service to your country. So I would push back in that part of it, because my grandfather, great-grandfather, my brothers, they all served their country.
Yeah, but if you don't have the grades, why should you
They
benefit
did have
from
the grades.
that?
My brother did, but I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of the fact that my family's legacy is at the Naval Academy. My father's buried there.
I'm not talking about your family. I'm talking
You said
about
legacy.
I'm talking about the policy of where legacy admissions came from.
I'm very proud of my family's legacy at the Naval Academy.
And Jews probably out of the colleges.
Meghan McCain is so dumb. This conversation is just insane. Joy Behar is talking about legacy admissions and how that is legal privilege. So, like I was saying at the beginning, of course the system is rigged in favor of the rich. There are legacy admissions as one example of how the privileged get into schools above everybody else. Meghan McCain takes it as, she takes offense to it because her family were legacy admissions. But she doesn't understand. It's not about your family going to the same school. Okay, your brother and your father and your grandfather went to the same school. That would be fine on its own. It's the fact that they got a benefit because their father or their grandfather went to that school. That's a problem. That is legal privilege for the already privileged. That's the issue here. And she is defending it because her entire life is built on privilege. The reason I'm showing this clip as well is because of what Anand Giridharadas, who was on MSNBC, what he followed up with in this clip, talking about this issue of what it does to, I guess, the psychology of the kids that make it into these schools. Watch.
I got to read you a quote from the indictment, which is so striking. It's a quote from Singer about something he heard from the kids. So the kids go in. They've been trending at like 1,100 on their practice tests or whatever, right? You walk in, you get a 1,500. Wow, so nice, right? How do the kids process it? How do the kids process it? This quote is so telling. He summarizes what a lot of these kids say. He says, maybe I should do that again. I did pretty well, and if I took it again, I'll do better even, okay? The reason this quote is so significant is it shows how rigging leads to feelings of supreme merit in people. The more you rig things and then give people a boost they didn't deserve, the more they actually experience it psychologically as deservedness. And then you end up with a country where that person 30 years from now is going to be running some hedge fund, right? And maybe raping and pillaging in the economy, running some nursing home, levering it up with debt. People are going to die a little bit, overdose a little bit on pain medication, whatever.
Really nice conversation without talking about Donald Trump. I don't know why.
Right, exactly.
Or Brett Kavanaugh.
And then they'll give a little to charity. And when someone like me 30 years from now, maybe my children, is saying, hey, hold on, how's this thing working? They'll say, I earned this. I earned this. And they may not know 30 years from now that they got a 400-point boost because someone else actually took their SAT.
All right. So that explains Meghan McCain perfectly. And look, to her defense, to the defense of Meghan McCain, she's only a talk show host. I mean, it could have been worse. She could be president. So this is a system that has also benefited Donald Trump. It's this society where the people that are born into wealth, born into power, born into privilege, they are going to continue to have that wealth, that power, and that privilege and think that they earned it and give them this sense of, oh, yeah, I'm here because I deserve to be here. And then in many cases, push other people down because they think that they earned it, while those who are poor are, oh, you're only poor because you're lazy. You didn't try hard enough. That's how this entire society operates right now. And people are becoming more and more aware that that's the case and waking up to it. Now, I want to share one tweet here on the Meghan McCain clip that I think is just perfect. So Ben Dixon tweeted out, Meghan McCain is the complete embodiment of what extreme wealth can do for mediocre children. And that's exactly right. Now, I want to get back, though, to the main story here, which is the college scam, and some other reactions to that. So I think this was a fantastic perspective to share. This is Clint Smith. He's a writer and doctoral candidate at Harvard, and he has a series of tweets on this. So he tweeted out, thinking about all the black, brown, and low-income students who arrive at college and who are made to feel as if they don't deserve to be there, while so many wealthy students have their parents essentially buy their way into these schools and rarely experience the same skepticism. Some people don't fully appreciate the psychological toll it takes on a student to navigate a school environment that both implicitly and explicitly tells you that you only got in because of an undeserving handout. Meanwhile, somebody's parents donate a building and no one bats an eye. The very idea of our society, higher ed or otherwise, being a meritocracy is something that was made up to justify and reify existing social hierarchies. It's not real. What's real is how wealth and race combine to give people things that they tell themselves they inherently deserve. So I think this is maybe the most important point to come out of this entire thing. And that's understanding that even though the wealthy have all the privilege, all the benefits, it's the ones that are black, brown, or low income that are looked at as, oh, you're only here because you got a handout, or yo, you're only here because of affirmative action, not because you earned your way in. When the reality is the opposite. It's the privileged, it's the wealthy that only got there because they are privileged and wealthy. Now, look, that isn't always the case, but that is more likely the case than it is the reverse. So this is an issue where it's weird to see people that are in incredible privilege not understand that privilege. Meanwhile, people in the middle class have a better understanding of their own privilege. The whole thing is just weird to me. But there's one more opinion that I want to share on this whole story. I saw this, and I think this is also a fantastic perspective that I didn't think about until I saw this. So Ash Clark tweeted out, "These are the type of parents who have kids to feed their own egos and narcissism. They aren't thinking about their kids. They are only thinking about how their kids add to or subtract from the image of success they are trying to project." This really blew my mind because I didn't really think of it this way. A lot of these parents, they don't really care if their kid goes to Harvard or not, because obviously their kid's going to be fine. They have the money already. I mean, they could put the money into a trust. Their kid's good for life. But they're paying to get their kids into these schools because it makes them look good. They want to be able to go to their friends. Oh, my little Becky, yeah, she just got into Harvard. How about that? That's what this is about. It's sad in a way because these kids, look, if you're one of these kids and you actually do care about, I don't know, your life, and you care about how you come off, how you look, for the rest of their lives, these kids now have attached to them the fact that they only got into whatever Ivy League school they got into because their parents paid off whoever they needed to pay off to get in. They scammed the colleges into getting them into these schools. They never earned it. And this is something they're never going to be able to get away from. I mean, it ruins the kids' lives. And on top of that, it kind of exposes these parents and shows that, you know what, these parents, they didn't really do it for the love of their kids. They can tell themselves that, they can pretend it's about that, but they know it's about how they come off. They know that it's about how their own image of success, how everybody else views them and their family. That's ultimately what all of this is about.